So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous basket weave lap quilt using a jelly roll. So let's put the pedal to the metal and let's get sewing. Hi, my name is Jo and welcome to my very first tutorial. So I am a little bit nervous, so please be gentle with me. Today we're going to be diving into making a quick and easy basket weave quilt out of a jelly roll. So whether you're a seasoned quilter or you're just starting out on your sewing adventure, I'm thrilled to have you with me. So let's go and grab our fabric, scissors, thread, and let's get started. Right, so I can already hear some of you out there who maybe not be familiar with some sewing terms thinking, what on earth is a jelly roll? Well, this is a jelly roll. So these are strips of fabric that have been cut at 2.5 inches wide and then rolled round into this lovely wheel here. So they're all pre-cut and the colours, they're all coordinating and matched beautifully, and these are really versatile. You can do such a lot with them, which over the next couple of tutorials I'll be showing you how to use these in a few different quilt designs. You can get them from your local fabric superstore, or a local quilting shop will probably stock these. They usually come in rolls of 20, which is a smaller roll than this. This is a roll of 40 strips. So this should quite easily make 2 lap quilts. Or if you wanted to use them all in one quilt, you'll get a pretty decent quilt out of one jelly roll that's got 40 strips. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously we'll unroll them. So there we go, look at all them lovely colours, look. They're all nicely coordinated. Oh, I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. Oh, look at that. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. Now this particular jelly roll is they're Japanese fabrics. Anyone that knows me knows that I love Japanese fabrics. Not only do I like the designs of them, but I also like the quality of the fabric and how it's woven. So the first thing that we will do before we start any sewing is I would strongly suggest that we just press these out, that whichever ones you're going to use is just press them out so that they're all nice and flat. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and I'll be back shortly. So this quilt behind me, it's the same concept as using a jelly roll. So you could have a jelly roll and just, make strips like that and just sew them together, put a border on, and hey presto, you've got yourself a quilt top. But what I did with this was I cut a lot of my scraps into different widths, obviously sewed them together, and then sewed those strips together as we've done today in the jelly roll. But yeah, I needed something really quick because we bought ourselves a caravan and I thought, oh, it's going to be a bit cold and I hate the cold. So I just knocked a couple of these up just to put in the caravan. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that one. That's why it's behind me, is because it's a similar concept to, working with the jelly roll. So here I am, I've pressed all my strips. So because I was just using half of that particular jelly roll, so I've used 20 strips, and we're actually going to be sewing 5 strips together. So I've put mine into 4 bunches of 5 ready to sew together. Right, now I do hope that you can see what I'm doing here. Now, first of all, let me just put my face on there so you can see me. Can I do it? Yeah. So first of all, what I strongly recommend is make sure that you have a 1/4 inch foot on your machine. when you're quilting, if you don't use that 1/4 inch, it can throw everything out of whack. So when you're coming to match up like seams or actually just trying to sew in a straight line, it can be a bit problematic. But what I always do is when I have a new machine, or I'm using a machine that actually isn't mine, I'll get my little, I've got a little ruler here, and I will always check that from the point of the needle to the end of the foot. So what I meant when I was saying that if I'm using a machine that I'm not familiar with, or that I haven't used before, or I treat myself to a new one, I will always get a little measure, and I will measure from the point of the needle to the end of the foot there, and make sure that it is a 1/4 inch. So I know that that is a 1/4 inch, so I'm happy with that. Right, so now what I'm going to do is start sewing these together. Obviously use a contrasting thread. I always use like a beigey colour because it seems to go with most things. So what you're going to need to do is get your first 2 strips. You can pin them together if you want, but there's really no need. I hate wasting time. So right sides together. I'll probably pin the first little bit there just to make sure that they're all together. And then we get it into the machine and sew a 1/4 inch, all the way down. Here we go. If I can get my machine to work. Rightio, so as I say, a 1/4 inch. Don't go over your pin because you'll probably break your needle. So here we go. And I'll do a few reverse stitches at the end. And there we go. Right, so that's the first 2 sewn together. So now I've finished on this end. I hope I can make this clear. So when you sew your next strip, start from the end that you finished on. So I'll be sewing now my next piece on this end. So match it up as best as you can. These ends will be chopped off, so don't worry if they're not all perfect. Now the reason it's quite important that you do start from the end that you finished at for your next strip, because for some weird and scientific reason, if you sew them all from the top to the bottom, all in the same direction, your strips will actually create a curve, which can be really frustrating when you come to square them up. So yeah, make sure that you sew from top to bottom, and then you turn it round and then do bottom to the top, turn it round, top to bottom, turn it round, bottom to top. I hope that makes sense. So I'll just sew this next strip here, and then I'll finish sewing all the 5 strips together, and then we can take it from there, and I'll show you what to do after that. So that's my first 5 all sewn together with a 1/4 inch seam. And so now what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to take it to the pressing table, and I'll just show you how to press it. Right, so I'm here at the pressing table, got it all nice and flat. I actually like to use one of these wool pressing mats. I don't know why, but it just seems to do a better job than what I was using before. So when you're pressing, just try not to stretch you know, your seams too much. I mean, I am lifting my iron up a little bit There we go, there's the steam going. And then press all along, press your seams all in the same direction. This can be a bit therapeutic. I actually think this jelly roll project is a really great one if you've got kids that want to learn how to sew and they've got a little sewing machine they can use. Yeah, I just think it's a great fun project for them as well. So I'll just finish pressing all these 5 strips, and then I'll see you back at the sewing machine. Right, so I'm here at the cutting table. I've actually just measured how wide these sewn strips are, and they're actually 10.5 inches. So what we'll do first is this is just just a little ruler. I love this little ruler, it's one of my favourites. And I've got a little handle on it that I've put on it. So what you'll need to do first is put it on a cutting board like this, and make sure it's nice and straight. And then what we're going to do is just cut those ends off first. So I use a Rotary Cutter, an Olfa Rotary Cutter. I've tried all sorts of brands, but for me this is the best one. The blades are easy to get, it's easy to use, it's safe, and yeah, the blades don't sharpen too the blades don't blunt too quickly. So just next to the your ruler, and then just from your body away from you. And then because these are 10.5 inches wide, we're going to measure 10.5 inches this way, because what we want to do is we want to cut them into equal squares. So count twice, cut once, that's my rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.5. So there we go, 10.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.5. There we go. Ta-da! That's the first block cut. So carry on now with the rest. So minimal waste, not much waste at all with this particular project. So that's your first 4 blocks. Now if you want to carry on doing exactly the same with your other strips, and then I'll show you how to put them all together. Right, so I'm back. I've sewn all my strips together and I've cut them up into 10.5 inch squares, because you put 5 strips together and they're 10.5 inches. I mean, if you wanted to make bigger or smaller squares, then you could maybe put 3 together and make smaller squares, but I like the 10.5 inch ones. Right, so the next part is pinning them together, ready to sew into a quilt. Exciting bit. So what I'll do is I'll grab one of these, and then I'll grab one of these, and because this is a basket weave, I'm not sure, hoping you can see here on the table. Oh, by the way, this was all the cuttings from these. So honestly, with these jelly rolls, there's very little waste. So I'm going to put 2 blocks together, but I'm actually going to turn the one like that. And because they're 10.5 inch squares, they should fit together perfectly. So right sides together. So how I like to pin is I like to put one in the end in either end, one to the left, one to the right, one in the middle. And I love using these Clover pins. I'm not sure if you can see, but they are made by a company called Clover. I believe they're Japanese. They're really, really sharp. And these blue ones are specifically for quilting. They do orange head ones as well, but I think they're more for dressmaking. I've got some of those as well. But yeah, these pins are lovely. They're lovely and sharp, and they seem to stay sharp as well. Yeah, so, but I know, just in case you do want to treat yourself to some decent pins, I will put the link in below later on. So yeah, I'll put a couple to the left, couple to the right. And now I'm ready to push the pedal to the metal, and I'm going to get on my sewing machine. Right, so I just thought I would show you this. I don't need to panic. So I've pinned these two together, and if you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, but one of them looks slightly bigger than the other one. No dramas, no panic. Fabric is pretty forgiving, so that's why I always pin either end and then one in the middle, and then you can sort of finagle then and get that excess in line with the others, with the other top. I mean, if you need to, just use a few more pins, but I mean, it was only a little bit, but I remember when I started to quilt and something was slightly bigger, and I just didn't know how to fit it all in without creating a crease. But there you go, just work it in. It is quite forgiving, and then just sew as normal. Hey presto. Right, so here I am back at the pressing station. I've actually sewn, oh, wrong side. I've sewn 4 blocks together in alternate directions. So now I'm just going to press these again. Just press these seams. Just press them all the same way. It's just a habit I've got into over the years. I always try and press them in the same way. There we go. And I will press the tops. And note that I'm pressing, I'm not ironing, because I think I said earlier that if you iron, it can distort all your seams. There we go, that's that one done. Now I'll do this one. Same process. I love this iron, it's a good steam iron, this is. Not that I do much ironing these days. If anything needs too much ironing, I don't buy it, other than fabric for quilting. Here we go. There we go. I'll just do this side again. Right, now that's done. I am going to go back to my sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to pin them together. I would suggest that before you start pinning the rows together is that you sew the rest of your blocks together in rows so that you can just get it all done at the same time. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pin these together, right sides together. I hope you can see. I will try and here we go. So right sides together. Now don't see, I'm not sure if you can see, I hope you can. So we've pressed the seams one way. Now I will go back to the ironing board, and if these aren't facing in opposite directions, you see how this one is pointing that way and this one is pointing that way. That is the junction that I want to pin. And as you pin them, because one's going to the right and the one's going to the left, it feels like they lock together. And I will pin that. Get one of my pins. Now, as I said earlier, if both of those have been pressed the same way, I'll go back to the ironing board and I'll make sure that one of these seams is pressed the other way, because I like the feeling that they lock. And then when you open it up, or when you feel them, you will feel them, definitely feel them locked together. When you open it up, see how all the seams match. So pin that. And then I go back to the next seam. Yep, they've both been ironed in the opposite directions. There they nesting, I think they call it. They nest together, locking together, whatever you want to call it. That's that. Then this third one. Yeah, both in opposite directions. There you go. You can just, I think it's pretty amazing. You can just feel them going together. There you go. Pin that and then pin the end. And then I'll pin the other end. I told you I'm a bit of a pinner. And then between, for each block now, I will pin in the middle. And then I'll make sure that those all fit nicely and just pin. And I'll do that all the way along. And if I can, I do like to try and pin some of these seams down. I don't know why, I just do. Let's put another one there. It's not going to hurt, is it? And the one in the middle-ish. There. There. And there. Do you know, this is beautiful fabric, even if I say so myself. It's nice working with some quality fabric. Right. Sometimes you can get some fabric and it's you can look at like the thread count and it's like really quite holy is the wrong word, but yeah, the weave just seems pretty loose because there's not many threads there to make it a nice dense fabric. Right, so now what you do, sew along there, 1/4 of an inch. Beautiful. I'll be back when I've done it. Beautiful. At the end of each row and at the beginning of each row, I always like to, you know, do a bit of a reverse stitch just to secure at the end of each seam. Right, so I've sewn my first 2 rows together. Oops, there we go. And I hope you can see, but I really want to show it. Look at that join there. So that's the join you know, that where we pinned, so that all the seams are, yeah, nicely aligned. So go ahead and put your other 2 rows together, and yeah, I'll be back shortly. Hi guys, I am so pleased with how this quilt's turned out. I just wanted to show you. Yeah, it's taken me, what, 1 day? I'd say probably about 4 hours to put all this together. So guys, I'm really pleased with how my quilt's turned out, my little lap quilt top. So what I'll do is I'll be posting over the next couple of days. I'm going to put some borders around it, just to frame it a bit. So I'll do a quick video on how I do that. And if you like what you've seen today, please give me the thumbs up or subscribe to keep in touch with my other videos. There will be some coming out over the next few weeks and months. So thanks, have a great day, and be good to each other.